On behalf of the Vocal Arts, thank you. On behalf of the Vocal Arts Society of Washington, Vocal Arts D.C., I want to welcome you and thank you so very much for coming tonight to an evening of art song. I sincerely hope in the next hour that we can show you why Vocal Arts D.C. is so enchanted with this art form. For those of you who are not familiar with this type of performance, it's almost easier for me to tell you what art song is by telling you what it is not. There are no costumes. There is no orchestra. There are no props, no sets. It is simply one singer and one accompanying instrument, usually a piano, and using every bit of artistry that they possess. Every 3 or 4 minutes, they have to tell you a different story. An art song is simply a poem set to music, and it can be about absolutely anything. What is so intriguing about this situation, and what we love about it, is the intimacy that is created between the singer and the audience. We want to involve you in the story. We want you to ask, what is happening? What's happening next? Every single word counts, and that's why we have provided you with texts and translations. I have one tiny little request. If you could withhold your applause till the end of each set, the singers would be able to concentrate so much more easily. And then at the end of each set, you are free to go crazy. We have 4 superb artists with us today. The exciting soprano Chloé Olivia Moore, who will be appearing as Liu in Turandot next season with 2 major American opera houses, will be accompanied by Ting Ting Wong, and bass-baritone Zachary Burgess, who just found out this week that he has been asked to sing with the esteemed vocal ensemble Chanticleer for the next year. He will be accompanied by Joy Schreier. Well, let's begin with a ghost story. Odin's Meeresritt. It is, as usual, a dark and stormy night, and a lowly blacksmith hears a knock at his door. Looking out, he sees a giant man on a black steed, bearded, powerful, mysterious. It is Odin, the Norse god of the battlefields, and his horse's shoe needs mending. When the blacksmith picks up the shoe, he sees it's much too small. But as he holds it in his hand, the shoe begins to grow to fit the foot. And this is absolutely terrifying. As you will see, the piano is a full partner in this story, expressing the drama and the passion in this amazing song. So much fun for both the singer and the pianist. Odin's Meeresritt.
Meister Oluf, der Schmied auf Helgoland, verlässt dem Amboss um Mitternacht. Es heult der Wind am Meeresstrand, da pocht es an seine Türe mit Macht. Heraus, beschlag mir mein Ross, ich muss noch fighten, der Tag ist nah. Meister Oluf öffnet der Tür das Schloss, und ein stattlicher Reiter steht vor ihm da. Schwarz ist sein Panzer, sein Helm und Schild, an der Hüfte hängt ihm ein breites Schwert. Ein Rappe schultet die Mähne gar wild und starrt mit Ungeduld die Erd. Wohin so spät? Wohin so schnell? In Leutenei kennt die Gästen ein, mein Feld ist rasch, die Nacht ist hell. Von der Sonne muss ich in Norwegen sein. Hättet ihr Flügel, so glaubt ich's gern. Mein Rappe, der läuft wohl mit dem Wind, doch bleicht schon da und dort ein Stern. Drum hier mit dem Eisen und mach geschwind. Meister Oluf nimmt das Eisen zur Hand. Es ist zu klein. Halten es sich aus. Und wie es wächst an dem Hofesrand, da ergreifen der Meister Mann und Graus. Der Reiter sitzt auf, es klingt sein Schwert. Nun, Meister Oluf, gute Nacht. Voll hast du beschlagen und ins Feld. Ich eile nur zur blutigen Schlacht. Der Rappe schießt voll zum Land und Meer. Um Odins Haupt erglänzet ein Licht. Zerfahrt die Fliegen hinterm Her. Sie fliegen schnell und erreichen ihm nicht.
Quite a story, huh? Quite a story. We're going to continue with two very passionate Italian songs and a quote from one of humanity's most astute commentators, Mr. Woody Allen. Life is full of misery, loneliness, and suffering, and it's all over much too soon. Well, as you will see, Italians love to suffer. The text of our first song is actually from an opera, Arts D.C, a rather messy number in which everybody is either killed or commits suicide. But this little bit of drama today simply involves one of the male characters throwing up his hands in utter disgust and saying, "I just don't understand women," he exclaims. "I love you, and you know it, and yet you make my life miserable by constantly doubting my faithfulness." Doesn't sound too unhappy, does he? Moving on to the second song, this text is an Italian translation from Wolfgang Goethe's, in German, Faust. Now, as you probably know, Faust was a very unhappy man. He wanted power, he wanted youth, he wanted to be appealing to the feminine sex. So he traded his soul to the devil so he could have all of those things. Now, he seduced an innocent young girl, Marguerite. In France, in the Catholic Church, Saint Marguerite is the patron saint of expectant mothers, which is exactly what Marguerite, unfortunately, becomes. And in this very dramatic poem, she particularly prays to the statue of the Virgin Mary called Our Lady of Sorrows, depicting Mary's grief at the suffering of her own son, Jesus Christ, just as Marguerite is suffering now, knowing that the child that she is carrying faces a future of sin, terrible anguish, and ultimately death. How about a little English? Kind of like sherbet between the courses. The next three songs are from a song title entitled Viva Sweet Love. The composer, John Musto, born in 1954 and still very much alive, is thought to be one of the most consistently brilliant American composers of the 21st century. He's a brilliant pianist, a flawless musician, and he's married to a soprano. So he has all the tools necessary to know what goes into a good song. He also seems to have a fascination with the music of the first half of the 20th century. Blues, jazz, Tin Pan Alley, ragtime, Broadway, and you may hear one or more of those in the music you're about to hear, but used in a way that you don't expect and have never heard before. Now, to demonstrate how important text is to Mr. Musto, I will tell you that our baritone, Zach Burgess, once had the opportunity to sing for him, to sing these songs for him. And while he was learning them, he noticed that there was one line of the poem that had not been set, just one. So with trepidation that equaled his curiosity, he approached Mr. Musto and very respectfully, very quietly asked, can you tell us why you made the decision to leave that line out? And there was a significant pause, and Musto said, oops, I missed it. 2 weeks later, a revised version of the song arrived in Zach's mailbox, and that is the version that everybody now sings. So thank you, Zach. 3 songs by Mr. Musto.
as a thought when I was past such thinking. You came as a song when I had finished singing. You came when the sun had just begun its setting.
We're going to move on to French art song, a language that is full of kind of complicated and juicy sounds, which seasoned performers love and students seem to fear. Speaking of fear, Zachary's opening song is again a ghost story. It seems like bass baritones have a disproportionate number of these. Now, according to legend, every Halloween, the figure of death appears in the graveyard at midnight. And you're going to hear very dissonant chords in the piano as the death tunes his violin when he plays a mournful waltz, calling forth the souls of the dead from their graves for one night only of merriment. Suddenly, at dawn, the cock crows, and you're going to hear that in the piano also. Death vanishes as the dead scurry back to their graves. Now, this legend has a moral component to it. The king has danced with the peasant. The rich dance with the poor. And just before death disappears, he gives one triumphant crowing cry. Vive la mort et l'égalité. Long live death, which renders all souls equal.
Cadence, frappuccino, avec son talent, la ramène, oui, jeune, et danse, zig-zag, sur son violon. Le vent fait souffle et la nuit est sombre, des génies sont mal soutenus, il est, les squelettes blancs flottent à travers l'ombre, courant et sautant sous les glaciers. Zig, chacun son trémot, sur les tons plaqués, les oreilles danseurs. En complet lascif, ça sur le mot, c'est commis pour goûter, d'enchaîner du sueur. Zig, la mort continue, et dira que ça fait son écrasement. On va les tomber, la danseuse nous, et sa danseuse sera amoureusement. Marquise ou baronne, et l'hiver galant un pauvre écharat. Horreur! Et voilà qu'elle les abandonne, comme si les rouges prêtaient en baronne. Zig, qu'elle se répande, qu'elle s'éclaire de mots, se donne à la main. Zig, ça, qu'en voit dans le pas de le retomber auprès du vilain. cou, on quitte les rônes, on s'épousse, on fuit le coq enchanté.
Do you see that when you sing art song, it's not enough just to make a beautiful sound? You have to learn how to bend the voice to match whatever you're trying to say. And that's actually where the fun of it is. So I think after that, we deserve something rather pleasant. So Chloé is going to sing 3 exquisite French songs about love. Now note, not the agonized, unrequited love of the passionate Italian, but the voice of a lover who is languid, who seems to have all day to make love. I'm not sure I can say this at the Kennedy Center, but a great voice teacher once said that Italian is the way you feel before you make love, and German is the way you feel during, and French is the way you feel after. And I think that hearing these songs, you may well believe that. L'heure exquise, how exquisite is the hour when love suspends all time. Ouvre ton cœur, a lover waiting expectantly for the night. And finally, the magnificent Chez Nuit. The composer of this piece may be unknown to you, and for good reason. This is actually the only good song the man wrote. But if you are just going to write one good song, let it be a doozy, and this one is. It's stunningly beautiful, very, very difficult to sing well, and you'll hear that Chloé has everything it needs. It is a description of the enchanting transformation that occurs as night is descending upon the earth. And in the words of the poet, mysterious, calm, and charming.
La lune bleue
It's really exquisite, isn't it? Well, can a Broadway song be an art song? Sure, why not? It's a poem set to music, right? The only issue is that if one sings a Broadway song with the precise diction and with the same vocal sound that one would sing a purely classical song, it sometimes sounds a little silly. The difference is based on the simple fact that Broadway songs are mic'd. An art song is never mic'd. We have to project our voices to the end of this hall without any amplification. The lower voices, the baritones and the mezzo-sopranos, actually are more convincing because where they sing is closer to speech. The sopranos and the tenors have a little bit more trouble riding that fine line between the purely classical and the belting Broadway. But Zach, who is a bass baritone, has no such trouble. So his first song from the 1936 musical, Johnny Johnson, he's a cowboy who exclaims to his girl, "Honey, if you want me, you gotta take my horse, too." And in the second from the 1983 musical, Dance a Little Closer, the singer is dreamily reminiscing about the one that may have gotten away, but will never be forgotten.
Wasn't that a foolish thing for a man and his horse to part, and a riding fellow to clip his wing just because he'd lost his heart? But the purtiest gal I ever did see, she promised to be my wife, and she swore before she'd married me I must quit the cowboy's life. Oh, the Rio Grande, where the wind blows free, and the sun shines so clear and bright, where the trail is long, o'er the wide prairie, and the cowboy travels light. Well, it's saddle and boots in the sun and rain, and away and watch me ride up into the canyon and over the plains. Myself and my horse are one and the same, and one shadow rides beside. Oh, life was dull, but it happened so. A rodeo came one day. I took my gal to see the show. There was my little bay. I jumped in the saddle and grabbed the horn and yelled to all around. I'm the best darn cowpuncher ever was born, and for Texas I am bound. Oh, the Rio Grande, where the wind blows free, and the sun is so clear and bright, where the trail is long, o'er the wide prairie, and the cowboy travels light. Well, it's saddle and boots in the sun and rain, and away and watch me ride up into the canyon and over the plains. Myself and my horse are one and the same, and my gal rides at my side. There's always one you can't forget. There's always one you can't forget. One who roams around your mind. One you cannot leave behind. Other smiles seem painted on. Other nights are here and gone. Other lives become a blur in other arms. You think of her across the room, along the street. You always hope perhaps you'll meet. Why won't it die? You try and yet you can't forget. You can't forget. You can't
We're closing our program with two gems of American song. The first, Sure on This Shining Night, is undoubtedly Samuel Barber's most popular song. The solo version and the choral arrangement have sold over 100,000 copies. Pretty amazing for a classical song. And even though every student of art song sings this song, it's difficult to do it well. The immense popularity of this song was demonstrated when once the composer, Samuel Barber, bought a new apartment in New York City, and it had an unlisted number, and he forgot it. So when he called information, the New York operator simply wouldn't give it to him. And he said, but it's my apartment. I'm Samuel Barber. And she said, well, if you're Samuel Barber, sing the first line of Sure on This Shining Night. And he did, and he was granted the number. Amazing. Chloé finishes our recital with the ecstatic Love Went A-Riding. Have you noticed that many, if not most, of the songs that you've heard this afternoon have to do with love? Happy, scorned, miserable, hopeful, coquettish, angry. The vicissitudes of love make for great poetry and hence for great art songs. On behalf of Vocal Arts D.C., I simply want to thank you so much for coming out and hearing our singers this evening. I hope you are somewhat intrigued, enchanted, perhaps, disturbed, or soothed by what you have heard. And if you would like to hear more, please go to the website, vocalartsdc.org, and read about the 7 superb artists we are bringing to the Terrace Theater, about 500 feet above your head, in our 2017-18 season. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, and have a wonderful summer.
Starry